Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Across the Line podcast. Where today we are talking about the big Miami Grand Prix. I say big because last episode we were shitting on the track, but arguably the best race so far this season.
100%, not even in question.
I mean, I am
Brilliant race.
fully McLarened out just to actually respect and put respect on their name. They've done a fantastic job. Honestly, it
Yeah.
was a fantastic race, but we will get further into that. We'll do what we usually do. We will go through the entire race weekend as we can from scratch. Now, as Beth rightly said in the last episode, unfortunately she is away for just over a month. We wish her all the best in the world. Hopefully she'll have fun. Better bring us back some presents. I
Oh, damn right.
damn right. And we'll try and keep this podcast alive, shall we say, or not aflame. We'll not try and not
Yes, I
set it
guess.
alight while
Yeah.
she's away, because it's dangerous. A Red Bull and a Mercedes fan now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
She's going to see this when she's abroad, and she's going to see the notification pop up that we've
yeah,
uploaded,
yep,
and then she's going to be quaking in her boots.
yep. Uh, but no, I'm sure we'll prove her wrong. Maybe argue on a few things,
Ah, it'll be fine. It'll
but
be
it'll be
fine.
fine. Right, so we'll get practice. I mean, it was a one practice session, as it was a sprint weekend. Red flag with Charles Leclerc binning it in the wall.
Yeah, I mean, not his finest moment, not looking good for the HP Ferrari, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Actually, yeah,
Um,
that livery. What do you think of it? Let's be real. Be honest.
Biggest disappointment
Yeah,
ever.
I'm glad we can agree on that
It
because
did not live up to the hype at all.
no, it
Everybody was
really didn't.
thinking Lightning McQueen blue, and then you come up basically. I think Miami was like a decoy. I mean, they said we're doing a special livery for
Yeah,
Miami, whatever, whatever, whatever. But it was like we're going to announce HP that weekend, so we can whack in HP blue,
yeah, yeah,
and yeah, it just fell short. Just fell
yeah.
short.
I mean, I kind of thought of it as a bit of toothpaste on a red toothbrush. Kind of just
Yeah,
yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
But as you said, it was just a disappointment, especially with the Instagram posts and then posting the blue, and it was a gorgeous
Yeah,
blue, and
yeah,
then it was just majority of it was red. But no, Charles Leclerc bidding in the wall ruins his
yeah,
only practice session, mind you.
yeah, yeah.
Sets him up for a horrible weekend because they go straight into the sprint quali.
Yeah, I guess it could have knocked his confidence. I mean, it didn't show for the rest of the weekend. He kind of came in an average spot for
Yeah.
Ferrari, but the potential was there for it to be a pretty poor weekend for Ferrari. But he reclaimed it, so
Yeah. I mean, I
less
think
to worry about.
I think instantly he proved the man doesn't need a practice session because
No, I guess not.
later that day he goes second in the sprint qualifying.
Exactly,
You know
exactly.
he's everyone thought he was going to go out in SQ1 or SQ2, like he was going to be real down there because his setup is going to be absolute piss poor. But no, it was
He did
apparently
quite well.
quite good.
Did quite well.
But talking about sprint qualifying, now McLaren threw the gauntlet down and
Yeah.
became the strongest car on track.
hmm
Really the strongest car until they put those soft tyres on.
Yeah, it didn't look quite as good as
No.
they were expected or what they thought they were going to be. But I mean, it's about the final result, isn't it?
Yes, it's about the final result.
It is
Exactly
about the
right.
final
Exactly
result.
right. But no, unfortunately, they qualified lower than they should have been, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
Piastri was sixth in
yeah,
sprint quali,
yep,
and Norris was ninth. So
exactly. And I think tire temperature and setting up for a fast lap and quali and just overall, just the tires overall was a big issue this
yeah,
weekend.
I
I
mean
mean,
it's
the track.
Miami's hot
Yeah,
already. So
I
yeah,
think I think they said the track was about 50 degrees during the actual race.
damn,
Um,
that's bacon.
yeah, exactly. But then so the McLaren's lower than they should have been. The other
hmm
big name up there, Daniel Ricciardo, the big man.
I reckon shock of the season. Okay, second shock of the
Oh,
season, but
okay, yeah, yeah.
second biggest shock of the season. I mean, it's like an elephant up a tree. How the hell did it get there? But you know that it's gonna come down eventually. And surprisingly enough,
He didn't.
it didn't in the sprint,
No, it
but
didn't.
it did in
But
quali, which
he
is kind of
he
sad.
qualifies P4. Fantastic result, especially when you compare it to his teammate P15.
Yeah, that was
Um,
nuts. That.
and I don't think it was any upgrades on the RB. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I don't. That wasn't one of the cars mentioned when they were going through the upgrades.
No.
Um, so as far as I'm aware, that is the car that has been so far this season. So if anything, that shows his performance to be even better in
Yes,
my
yeah, I
opinion.
mean it was a stellar lap from him. I mean,
Yeah, it
there
was.
is no way that the RB should be up in fourth.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, to be perfectly honest, shouldn't really be in the points. Okay, high
Mm.
points, low points. Yeah, I can see it
I
happening, but
I like to think of them.
fourth. Yeah,
If anything, if you're going to compare them to anything, I like Alfa Romeo in 2022
yeah. Okay,
at the
that's yeah,
beginning
fair
of
comparison.
2022. You know, when they were
Yeah,
really sort of like jabbing or poking the bear of Q3 and
yeah,
points. You know,
mm.
and they always seem to be able to just be there when someone in the top 10 makes a mistake and they can benefit from it, and they seem to do that very well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
what is it? Shame it was the sprint, because I mean he doesn't
yes,
get half the points that he would in the actual race, but still good points for AlphaTauri. I reckon that could mean the world for them later down
racing
the
balls,
line this year.
racing balls, not AlphaTauri,
Sorry,
racing balls,
racing
racing
balls.
balls. There we go. But yeah,
Sorry, racing
we'll go
balls.
into the actual sprint itself. It was, I thought, you know, I'll hold my hands up, right, from what I said last time, and the sprint made it the weekend better. It made the track better, and I do think maybe it should continue to be a sprint track from now on.
Really?
I
Why are you
do.
going that far?
I
Fair
do
enough.
because I did enjoy it. It is a sprint track. I think you can agree with me on that. It is a
Yeah,
sprint
okay.
track, and you know I wouldn't complain if it carried on. You know I wouldn't complain.
No, no, it was a good race. I mean, it had loads of drama.
Hmm.
Magnussen being the biggest talking point of
Oh
that,
my god.
and I mean all the kerfuffles that happened. I mean,
I completely forgot about Magnussen.
you got Norris crashed out,
Yep.
Stroll crashed out.
Yep.
You
That's
got
true.
Kevin Magnussen who got
You know.
basically a
You
thousand
know.
seconds worth of penalty.
I'm not gonna comment on Stroll because I have for the last two episodes, and I feel like I need a break. This is for my benefit, right? So I'm just gonna stay silent. And you know, I've got a little Beth whispering in my ear. You know,
Yeah, don't
don't,
do it.
don't do it.
Fair enough.
But the sprint, no, I thought the sprint was brilliant. I mean, we had the turn one carnage of, I
Yeah,
mean, Hamilton.
I
What
don't
do you
know.
think of that?
I think it was a racing incident. I think it's just the way it kind of went. I
Yeah,
don't really know if he had anywhere to go. It just kind of went the way it did.
yeah. I think I agree with you with racing is because it was the first racing of the events.
Yeah.
And it was before we really knew how severe the tyre conditions of the track are.
Yeah.
Do I think he was possibly a bit too optimistic? But again, it's mainly a racing incident, like you said. Like there was no grip, there was no yeah, it's not fully his fault. Um, and Alonso unfortunately just got caught out. It was
Yeah.
really a shame for him. But
Oh
then
well.
that paved the way for some quite fine people like Hulkenberg
Mhm.
scoring
Yeah.
P7 for the team, scoring 2 points.
Yeah. Great result for him.
Sonoda P8 gets the final points of the
Yeah.
sprint, and even
Mhm.
Gasly and Sargent 9 and 10th.
Yep. Yep. Good. Good. Well, shame. Shame again that it wasn't the
Yeah,
race, but yeah, good results for them.
exactly. And I mean, Racing Bulls. It gave Racing Bulls the opportunity to score twice in the sprint. Both their drivers in the
Yeah.
top eight,
Yeah.
which is a
Exactly.
phenomenal thing to say. Yes,
Mhm.
there's not enough points, but both drivers in the top eight.
Yeah. I
That
mean, it's a statement on its own. So
exactly. Um,
really, really good weekend for them.
Speaking of unfortunately Mercedes, instead of going
Yeah.
forwards, they went backwards. I think you can.
Yeah. One.
Yeah.
One a great sprint. I mean, Hamilton was stuck behind flipping Kevin Magnussen
Mm,
for 90% of it.
yeah.
It was just poor. Russell didn't look like he was making many inroads, if
Mm.
any. It
I
just didn't go well.
I would like your opinion. What sort of what's your opinion on the whole Magnussen sort of mindset of how he approached that kind of racing? Because afterwards, he admitted it was hard racing. He very little of the time he used brakes, and you know,
Yeah, I kind of see. You always. I mean, basically, the way it looks is he's keeping that point
yeah,
for
Hulkenberg,
Nico.
yeah,
Yeah. So he's obviously got to try everything because Haas is just not great.
mm,
But the way he went about it wasn't it. I don't think. I think he was a tad too aggressive.
Mm.
I mean, where he ran Lewis off the road coming
Yeah.
into that really tricky section. I don't think that was really good of him.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least he owned up. I guess that's consolation, but
Yeah,
fair
I mean,
enough.
he admitted, he even says, he doesn't want to race that way, but it's the way he had to race for the team.
Yeah.
Lewis actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was gonna say I looked at the interview
yeah,
after, and he was smiling. I'd be there fuming if that
yeah,
was me.
yeah, but
But
he was smiling, he was happy, he enjoyed to have that racing.
yeah,
Um, but no, I think you're right. I think there is a limit. You are allowed hard racing. You need hard racing, right? Otherwise, what's the point if you can't, lock in with another driver and go toe to
yeah, of
toe?
course.
But it got a bit heated, shall we say?
Yeah,
We'll say
yeah,
heated.
I agree with that.
Um, but no, it caused. I mean, it scored some valuable points for Haas,
Yeah, of course.
but also Haas, or sorry, I should say the other way around. Mercedes fighting a Haas.
Yeah, it's not really where we want to be. We
Mm,
should be up there with the Max Verstappen's,
yeah,
the Charles Leclerc's. Um, but our car is just,
mm,
I mean, it's a boat.
yeah,
It's a fast boat. It seems like high speed is not our friend. And
no.
even when we go to like, I don't know, a medium speed track,
Mm.
still not great. So
I mean,
hopefully these Imola
yeah.
upgrades are gonna work wonders.
I was gonna say Imola because it has quite a few medium speed corners. I've noticed it's
Yeah,
you've got a few low speed there, but then a few medium. So you hopefully you'll be able to score some valuable points.
yeah, I reckon Imola will be a good weekend. It'll give us a proper kick up the arse potentially for where we can be, where we should be,
Yeah,
and where we realistically are.
exactly. I mean, I do just want to say, right, my statistics from last time still going strong, still scoring. They scored 10
Yeah,
points or like 14 or something like that.
yeah.
It wasn't a lot.
It was a good prediction.
My statistics stand. Right, mark my words. Mark my words. Where I predicted Mercedes to finish at the end of the year on points. Give me a 20 point leeway either way.
20 points either way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Calm.
Yeah, okay,
Right.
fair
We'll
enough.
we'll we'll make that a deal. We ended off the sprints. Max Verstappen victory. Uh,
It's getting boring now.
Leclerc podium. He finished. Well, sprint podium. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Second and Perez third. I mean, if I'm not
standard.
mistaken, the top four don't change. It
No,
is
you're right.
it is where it was at quali. It was good racing, especially between Ricardo and Sainz. That was very entertaining to watch. Uh,
Yeah,
but no, it was good battles all around. But moving into the main qualifying, the important qualifying,
yeah,
my God, right? My God. So Ricardo goes from P4 to
yeah,
P18.
yeah. It wasn't his finest quali, was it?
No, it
I mean, he
wasn't.
had the penalty as well, so he was last.
Yep,
But
he finished last.
yeah, it just wasn't very good from him at all. And I mean, another big movers were the Mercedes. I mean, seventh and eighth for Russell and Hamilton respectively. Um,
Yes.
it was slightly more encouraging. It's where the car should be. Well, is for this year, not where it should be. But yeah, I mean, the rest of it is pretty consistent. I mean, Verstappen first. What else you expecting?
Mhm.
Then Charles, then Sainz.
Yeah.
Not great really by Perez, considering his teammate is, oh Christ,
It was
almost
two
two.
tenths.
It was
Two tenths.
yeah, 2/10. It's not terrible, but he should really be second there.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, a big shocker is Fernando Alonso in 15th.
Yes. I was going to say Fernando Alonso goes 15th, out qualified by Stroll. Very unfortunate to say that. Don't believe that. That's like a stake to the heart, right? It
Yeah, I bet it
really.
is.
Um, but no, Fernando Alonso again struggling. You're seeing all these big names or smaller names going up, down, up, down. It's all to do with the tires, I believe. It's
It
it.
must have been. It
it
must have been. Yeah, I think teams their cars are better suited for different conditions. Can warm up the tires better today, shit next week. It just depends.
yeah. Fernando Alonso unfortunately goes lower. Hulkenberg goes ninth. He sneaks into Q3 as well as Yuki Tsunoda. There are
Yeah,
two sort of back markers of the Q3. Again,
yeah,
it's always Haas and Racing Bulls. They're the fight really,
Yeah,
for that
yeah.
spot.
I
Uh,
mean, it was a surprising session for Alpine as well. I mean, considering where they have been,
mhm.
12th and 13th ain't
Yeah.
half bad. I
No,
mean, another upgrade, and they might be that cusp of Q3. So
they're sort of reverting their mistakes. They're fixing the car. They're doing well to fix said car, I
yeah, yeah,
must
they're
say.
doing quite well.
And they're making good progress. I must faster than I thought as well. You know,
Yes, I mean,
usually when you find yourself in that hole, you are stuck there. If not the entire season, about half a season, if not the whole
yeah,
season. Not 5 races in, but here we are.
no, they're doing really well.
Yeah.
Doing really well.
Although I will make my point again. Mercedes are the new Alpine of the midfield.
Whoa, 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 whoa! We can't be saying that.
How can you disagree? How can you disagree?
When
Tell me.
okay,
Tell me one reason why you can disagree.
what do we consider the midfield?
As in not fighting the top three teams and
Yeah, okay,
two.
fine then.
So
Start.
you're
Yeah,
too far behind to fight for a podium, and you're too far
yeah.
forward to be out of the points.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that definition. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
I strongly believe we're not gonna. Well, it's unlikely we're gonna see a Mercedes podium. I feel like, unless
Um,
unless it's sort of like a situation where almost like Miami, where a safety car comes in, they're in the right spot at the right time, benefit the
yeah,
most
yeah.
out of it, and then they don't flop it like Russell usually does.
I reckon. Yeah, fair point. But I reckon we have a podium in us. I reckon 3 podiums by the end of the year.
3? Okay. I can't remember how many podiums you got last year. It wasn't. It was one at the
It was,
end, a four or five, I think.
I think it was, yeah, 4, 5, 6, something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Um, but no, I think they are the new Alpine, which
Yeah.
is unfortunate to see. It's unfortunate to see any
Yeah, I mean,
team
it's a
go this
massive
far
fall
back.
from grace.
Yeah.
Massive fall from grace. It's just being a passionate Mercedes fan for the last eon. It's
Mm.
just hard to watch your team.
Yeah. Joy.
It's just, yeah.
Now you know how I feel when Vettel,
Yeah.
the whole Red Bull thing started de-escalating, and then we started going
Yeah.
third and fourth, and yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately it happens. But then that's why we like Formula One because different teams start coming up.
Of
And
course, of
speaking
course.
of teams coming up, that's when we get onto the race, right?
Yeah, what a great
What a
race
great
this
race!
was.
Now, all I'm saying is, for that, I think you and I can agree we are a Norris fan.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
he's a local boy to us. He is a local
Yes, of
boy.
course, yes. Yes, yeah.
Not only that, he's British. He's very local to us. I think he's one of those drivers where I support the sole driver, and I do want to see him do well. Finally, he has done well. He's got his first win.
Yes,
It was
yes.
phenomenal, I must say. Unfortunate for his teammate. He was looking
Yeah,
for a P2, actually.
he was. I mean, it could have been a brilliant weekend for McLaren. I mean, doing the 1-2. I mean, shame that Piastri finished where he did, but I mean, no one could take away this result from Norris. It
And
was absolutely great weekend. Everything was working in harmony for them.
100%.
Yeah,
And I think
clinical.
you can't really hold anything against Piastri because some of it wasn't his fault. I mean, it was signs having no grip going into the braking, go
Yeah.
so deep on the insides
Mm.
and just clips.
It's
It's
just
a racing
yeah.
incident, right? So no one's at fault.
No, I don't think
And it
so.
was
I think
straight
it
after a
is
safety
just
car.
yeah.
So unfortunately, he didn't have that gap. So he went straight to the
Yeah.
back. Um,
Yeah.
our only DNF, Logan Sargent, the local boy, we both
I felt
predicted him.
quite bad for him.
Yeah, we both predicted P14 for him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, he might have been on for it had he finished
yeah,
maybe P6, P15, 16 realistically, but
around that
he
mark.
would have been close to our prediction. But I've kind of felt quite bad for him.
Yeah, I did.
It was another Magnussen issue, wasn't it? He was just
And it's worse when Magnussen's the one who created that issue, and he's the driver
yeah.
that can walk away, not Sargent.
Yeah, I mean it is just bad karma at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
I
it
mean
is. It is unfortunate for him, and
I mean
I don't see how they can hold that against him. They shouldn't
no,
realistically.
no,
Um,
they shouldn't. But I mean, I feel quite bad as well because if they find out that they've cracked another chassis,
oh my
oh,
God.
I'd be livid.
Yeah.
I'd be livid.
I mean,
I'd be going to Magnussen going, "You're paying, mate."
it looks like it was the diffuser in the rear wing that took the brunt of the
Yeah,
force.
yeah,
I like to think, maybe a bit of the underfloor, possibly, maybe towards the back of the underfloor.
Yeah, but
But
that's all fixable, so
exactly,
it should be fine. But yeah,
exactly.
it's always bad to see like the local boy go out, no
Yeah,
matter what race it is.
yeah.
The only one I want to see where that happens is Verstappen out of Netherlands, and I will go bananas that day, and we will record a reaction. But
Okay, will we now?
that is the only one I want to see. But I feel bad for everybody else.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Speaking of Magnussen, by the end of the race weekend, he is on 12 penalty points. Oh no, sorry, 10. He's on 10 penalty
Yeah,
points. If he gets
yeah.
two more, he has a race ban.
I mean, how many points did he start on the race weekend?
I think it was like 2 or 0. It wasn't that many. It was.
He's just had a mare of a weekend.
It,
I mean,
I think what
he
did
is he
it.
is just quite an aggressive driver.
He's so aggressive, and we've seen this before. He is very aggressive. I think of him and an AlphaTauri in Canada, right? They go straight
Yeah,
into. I think it was De Vries at that point. Um,
yeah,
and then I think of all these different. I think of Magnussen. I think of all these different situations.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but no, unfortunately, he's 2 points away from a race ban, which Haas cannot afford, considering they need to stay on Racing Bull's heels.
Yes, yeah, of course they do. I mean, it would be a massive loss. They'll lose
Mm.
out on whatever. But I mean, it could. Oh no, I
See,
can't really see any good in it. I
I'm,
take that back.
I'm I'm not sure. I mean, I can't remember the last time we actually had a race ban from a driver, but I'm a bit confused. Would it be we'd only have one Haas running? Would they get the Haas reserve, i.e., Oliver
No,
Behrman, to
it'd be
come up,
one.
or it'd be one?
I reckon it would be one. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure the rules state that it would be one Haas
yeah,
driving because it's also kind of the car.
mm.
I mean, what's Haas's number? Sorry, Magnussen's number. Magnussen's number is 20.
Yeah.
I think it's the car associated with the number 20 is banned,
Right.
not necessarily him, if that kind of makes sense.
Thank you, FIA. I will believe you. Um, no, because I was thinking, yeah, it would be a bit pointless if you can just grab the reserve, especially if you had a reserve like Oliver Behrman.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but no, so I mean, I'm hoping he doesn't get a race ban. No one wants a race ban. We don't want
No.
a driver having to sit out. What's the point? But no, we'll move on. We'll go further up the fields now.
Yeah,
Hulkenberg on to score points. He was on to score points.
yeah.
He just couldn't find the pace in the last stint, really. And Esteban Ocon, an Alpine, right? The French tractor gets it over the line for P10, scoring the first and only point for Alpine so far this season.
Jubilation for the French.
Oh
I
my god.
mean, considering where the team started the year
Yep.
and they were worse than abysmal, they
Yep.
were shite,
Yep.
absolute garbage. For them to get point 0.5 races in
Mhm.
and basically leapfrog like three, maybe four teams
Yep.
in the constructors just to get some points is a really, really good result. It shows that they're making progress.
Yep.
It's a result that they can build off of.
It,
I mean, it's only 1 point and it might not look substantial at the moment, but it
yeah.
will pave the way for the next few races.
But so far in the position of Stake and Williams, for example, Williams, I don't know, they seem to be almost like falling in a financial rabbit hole,
Yeah, yeah.
which is unfortunate. And Sauber can't get their pit stop. They're getting better with pit stops, but they're still nowhere near where they need to be
Oh
competitive.
no, no. I mean, you could fit
Yeah,
two Red Bull pit stops in one of theirs. I mean, it's just
exactly.
catastrophic.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't really see the other two teams being able to fight back, especially if they're able to just keep going to P10. Keep maybe P9 and just slowly build a gap. A buffer
Yeah.
zone even.
I
Uh,
mean, realistically, Williams will rely on Alex Albon for all
oh
their
god,
points
yeah,
this year.
god, yeah,
It's quite a sad fact. I mean, nobody likes to see anybody end the year on 0 points. It kind of, on paper, looks like you've done that full,
yeah,
whereas Logan Sargent could have finished 11th for
yeah.
24 races of the year. I mean, he hasn't,
I mean,
but
let's not forget he was P10 in the sprint. That's not.
yeah, of course, it's just
Yeah,
wrong day.
it's unfortunately wrong place, wrong time. But we'll move away from the French. I will congratulate them this one time. Uh, Russell, and Hamilton will go to Mercedes. P6 and P8. Right? How are you feeling about the result personally?
It's good. It
Yeah.
it's progress again. I mean, realistically, our car should be yeah 7th and 8th.
Mm.
So I mean, it's it's a step in the right direction. It doesn't mean our car is anywhere near fighting for
Yeah.
points, but
Oh.
it's another step in the right direction. It's one upgrade. We've got a
Mhm.
big package supposedly coming next weekend.
Yes.
The only quite annoying thing is Ferrari are going to bring their race-winning upgrade, um, and I reckon we'll just stay in this little buffer zone in
Mhm.
fourth because I don't reckon Aston are breaking enough ground. Red Bull are too far ahead.
Yep.
You can obviously see that McLaren are doing bits with their new upgrades,
Yep.
and Ferrari's quote unquote race winning ones should make them be fighting for P1.
Yeah.
So I guess we're in that just like pool of nothingness.
No, and I think you're exactly right with everything. Scoring 12 points by the end of the weekend in
Hmm.
total. Not the greatest. I mean, you score as many points as Racing Bulls, right?
Yeah.
Um, which I know is damaging, and I'm sorry to point it out, but that is
Yeah,
the
but
fact.
no, it is true. It is true. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
these
you were fighting the Racing Bull, weren't you? It was
yeah we
Sonoda.
were yeah.
Sonoda was in a Mercedes sandwich almost.
Yeah, and I mean, it was we showed signs of promise. I mean, Russell for a few laps was right on Yuki's arse, and I
Yes,
just
he
think because of
was.
tire temps, he wasn't getting anywhere. Same with Lewis. I mean, he was right there for a couple of laps,
Hmm.
pulled away to let his tires cool,
Yep.
straight back up to the straight back up to Perez. And to be perfectly honest, I reckon he could have had Perez at one stage. I reckon there was
Yeah.
a proper
It was a
like
proper go
go at
for it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have done it. But unless these upgrades supposedly coming in Imola are God's gift to engineering, we're standing fourth.
Yeah.
Harsh
Uh,
reality, but true.
and I think it was unfortunate Hamilton getting locked in a battle with Hulkenberg. That really stopped him. I mean, that gave Sonoda the
Yeah,
opportunity to overtake both of them when both of them went that deep. You know,
yeah,
Sonoda could just go, "Oh, thank you very much, thank you, gentlemen. I will take these two
yeah.
positions and goodbye." Right?
Mhm.
But Hamilton gets him in the end. I think it was the last lap, wasn't it? The last lap he managed to get him, or something like that. It was very fine margins between those two. Uh, but no, that was our sort of midfield. You know, the sort of P6 to
Yeah,
P10 kind of ordeal. Alonso going P9. It was a very quiet race from him. I feel like.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, the timing suggests he's kind of in a bit of a no man's land again as
yes.
well. Just kind of nothing much happened for him. It
Yeah.
was just a quiet weekend really for the
Yeah.
Astons as well.
And it's unfortunate to see Aston Martin not able to progress. You know, I think with, I mean, you sort of had Mercedes and Aston locked into place, almost an equal car, so Alonso could fight for Aston with the
Yep,
Mercedes, but with Mercedes points, now Aston have dropped back. You know,
yep,
and
yep.
I think that's the way it will be. But now, right, we'll move into the top five. Now, do you want to talk about the Ferraris first? We'll go talk about the Ferraris.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's talk about Ferraris
let's talk about
first.
the Ferraris. Right, Charles Leclerc once again, not even a full practice session, a few minutes, right? A few laps. I think it was 4 laps he did, right?
Yeah, it's something
P3
stupid.
in the race.
I mean, congratulations to him. I
Yeah,
mean, it's not like this the first time stepping into the car, so
no.
he obviously knows what he's doing. But
Yes.
considering he's had no practice
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
in scorching temperatures, I mean, he didn't have, supposedly there was a report going out that he didn't have water throughout the race as well.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I mean, according to some reports, it was like
Yeah.
60 degrees in the car, and he'd lost. I think his water leaked, or just he wasn't connected right, so he was
God.
buggered from the first lap. But I mean, congrats to him. I mean, it was a stellar effort, and I mean, that's why he's a Ferrari boy.
That is why.
He did really,
Yeah.
really well.
You're right. You're right. Um, and I mean, as I said, he was only 2.3 seconds off Verstappen, right?
Yeah,
And I know
yeah, it
that's
was good.
2.3, and that's still quite a lot, but compared to what it used to be,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
shrinking.
yeah,
That is shrinking.
yeah,
Which, you know, I'm quaking, but you know, it is nice to see. Part of me
yeah,
is
yeah.
nice
It's
to see it.
always nice to see Ferrari. I mean, what was the quote? Will Buxton said that, or sorry, Vettel said everybody's a Ferrari fan. It's always nice to see a Ferrari on the podium.
Yeah.
And I mean, hopefully, this means Lewis will have a good drive next year.
Yes, hopefully. I mean, I would quite like to actually see him win a race in a Ferrari. I think that would be, you know, I'm not saying it will be the end, but I think of that is the perfect end to a career.
Yes,
Yeah.
I reckon it would. Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
that's how I'd want to go out.
exactly. We'll talk about his signs, right? Unfortunately, it seems his villain arc's come to an end. He's
Yeah, it was.
he needs to remove another organ. Uh, he really does. Because he goes
It was a
P5.
good run.
It was a good run. It was quite quiet towards after the safety car in the end stint. It was quite
Yeah.
quiet. But all in all, I mean, it was a solid performance. You know, it's a solid Ferrari performance.
Oh yeah. There's nothing to take away from the Ferraris. I mean,
Yeah.
it's where they should be. I mean, don't get me wrong. They should be behind Verstappen and Checo, but Checo's just kind of crap nowadays. And I mean, Lando had the drive of his life. So realistically, for the weekend, it's where they should be. They kept out of trouble.
Yep.
They did what they needed to. Got
Mhm.
some solid points on the board,
Mhm.
and they're solidifying themselves in second.
They are, and I mean, we haven't gone into huge details about the actual bets, right? Because you've never been here. Um,
No, no, I guess we haven't.
but yeah, between me and you and another friend of ours, we have a constructors bet going on.
Yes, yes.
I mean, you're welcome to explain it if you want to.
Yeah, okay. So each year, each of us choose a constructor.
Mhm.
So Ollie chose Red Bull, I chose Mercedes, and our mate chose Ferrari.
Mhm.
And the deal is the team. So that so the person who chose the winning team gets to
Mhm.
choose a punishment for the person team which loses. So in this case, it's most likely going to be Ollie taking a punishment for me. And last year the punishment was dyeing hair, and this
That was
year
very
it's
entertaining.
a shit haircut.
No, no,
So
not only is it a bad haircut, a reverse fade, right? You are going to be looking like a monk, my friend. You're going to be looking like a monk from the medieval
unless
period.
unless the next 18 races are God's gift to Mercedes,
See,
yeah.
I want you to know what punishment's coming to you. So you count down the races, right? And you think,
Oh
oh God,
God.
it's not recovering. And you are, my friend, are gonna look like you belong in the 15th century in a chapel. Anyway, um, yeah. So unfortunately, it seems you're gonna be falling short during the short straw. Next year, who knows? Maybe we'll do wax strips, tattoo,
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
You got to bump it up. But anyway, moving away from that. Uh, Now Red Bull, right? We'll split them apart into drivers. Checo, it was just poor. Unfortunately, it does hurt to say it was poor from him. It just seemed he couldn't work the car to find pace.
No, I mean he's fourth behind a Ferrari, and don't get me wrong, his teammate is the Max Verstappen, and a McLaren. He realistically should be minimum third there.
Yeah.
Um, I think when Red Bull hired him back in 2020, he was, I mean, his season in Racing Point was impeccable. I mean,
Yeah.
that last to first was immense, and I mean, he's done his fair share
Yeah.
of effort in the team. I mean,
Mhm.
he basically won Verstappen the 2021 world title, um, but he's fallen off.
Yeah.
I don't think that's his seat next
Which,
year.
yeah.
I reckon that Science's is
And
just not putting in the
yeah.
results that the team realistically should be aiming for.
And I think as a Red Bull fan, I wholeheartedly agree. And as much as I actually like Checo Perez, time to call it a day. You know, you have had some good years with Red Bull, right? And it's not. I mean, nothing's ever permanent. I think now that Sainz is available, and actually reports saying Audi are not interested in him anymore because he just wouldn't, you know, bite the bait and rejected offers or left them hanging, so they're not interested in him anymore. And I think Sainz would be a much better fit, personally.
Yeah, agreed 100%. I
Yeah.
mean, he's putting in the results in a worse car. I mean, it's definitely the way forward if the team wants to progress. I mean, he was supposedly pegged for Audi, but as you rightly say, he just isn't. It just isn't gonna go.
No.
I mean, they're currently stakes, so I mean, why would you go to a shit car for a year that you don't really want to go to when you could potentially stay at Mercedes, who are could be going for podiums next year. They obviously have a progression that they've got plans, so maybe he'll be tempted with Mercedes carrot. But yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean it's well put. I think we both agree Sainz would be a better fit, to be honest. Um, but now, big man, the big man, big man,
Yeah.
Lando Norris, car number 4, goes across
Yes,
that line,
what a race
gets his
from
first
him.
ever win. Right? I kid you not.
Uh,
I was screaming in my house. I was there. I was sat there, right, on the edge, literally not even, basically not on the cushion, right, screaming, and begging.
uh,
I was praying, and I'm not religious, but I was praying he did not lock up in any corners.
uh, I mean, I was in a pub and we were watching it,
Mm,
and when the checkered flag fell,
mm,
the pub erupted. I mean,
yeah.
it was great. It was just,
Yep.
I mean, he's what was the stat? He's the only driver to have, oh sorry, he's the driver with the most podiums but not a race win
Yes, I believe.
before to this
Yes.
weekend.
Yes.
And I mean,
Which is a damaging
it
stat.
yeah, but I mean, he's silenced the haters. He's proven that
Oh
he
God,
can
yeah.
do it. Realistically, it's the third fastest car. There's no way he should be P1. I mean, the cards did kind of fall for him in the right way,
Yeah.
but to gap Max Verstappen by 7.6 seconds is a phenomenal effort.
Hmm.
Absolutely masterclass weekend.
It is.
Um, I mean, it just kind of shows that you can do it. Everybody thought Sochi 2021 was his race.
Yeah.
Turns out strategy, the team didn't choose to go for wets that race. And it just kind of didn't work for him. And
Mm,
since then, everybody's been kind of like, is he going to win? Is he going to
yeah.
win? And today was that day, or this
Yeah.
weekend was
And
that
it,
weekend.
as
So,
as you said, when the pub erupted, it's nice to see this support for this mutual support. Not even just people from
oh
the
yeah.
UK. We're talking everyone in Formula One. We're talking Fred Vasseur, right?
Yes, that was
We're
brilliant.
talking about all the
That was brilliant.
drivers. We are talking about everyone who came together and found this mutual support and to show some love to Lando
Yeah,
Norris. And I
he was
think that's
definitely the
brilliant.
most deserving. Yeah, he was
And
definitely the most deserving. Everybody just, it was nice to see everybody like congratulating him as
mhm,
soon as he got out of the car. Verstappen was there, Ricardo was there, Lewis had
mm,
his hands out the card,
yeah,
waving and congratulated him. Russell, his best mate, Albon as
yeah,
well. It was
all of them.
just a very nice
Fernando
to see.
Alonso, his mentor at McLaren, as well.
Yeah, of course, of course. And I mean, his dive into his pit crew was quite nice to see as well.
Yeah.
Crowd surfing, but everybody, yeah, it was
I
nice to see.
I
It's
always
very
love it
nice
when
to
they do
see.
stuff like that. Not because of what they're doing, but I look out for the FIA's reaction because obviously the first objective is to get them weighed immediately, and
Yeah,
they're always having a hissy fit in the background when the drivers want to celebrate.
Christ.
Sainz did it. He threw his gloves away, but they had to be weighed with him, so they were absolutely
Uh,
screaming at him.
the FIA needs to take a day off once in a while. Jesus
But no,
Christ.
it was our first race winner in a year and a half essentially. George Russell was the last one in 22 Brazil. That was our last
Yeah,
race winner, newest race winner. Second time, only the second time we've had God Save the King as well.
yeah, yes, it was. I mean, it was nice to hear. Not necessarily the "God Save the King" bit, but it was nice to see, nice to not hear the Dutch national anthem for once. Bloody hell,
You
it's
heard the
getting annoying. It's like
you heard the Spanish one in Australia. Shush, shush, shush.
that.
Shush, 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 shush.
I reckon. I reckon there could be a few more races like this. I
Oh
reckon
yeah.
Charles will get a win. I reckon we'll hear the Mexican national anthem once or twice this year.
Uh,
Who knows? We could be hearing the Japanese national anthem if Christ, I don't know, Yuki Tsunoda has a worldie.
you know what? That might be the most outrageous prediction we've had on this podcast so far. And
Right, I'm
well done
calling
for
it.
you.
You heard it here first. Yuki Tsunoda is okay. Race winner's a bit far. He's gonna
No,
get in the
no, no,
podium
you
this
can't take
year.
it back. You can't take it back.
No, no, I'm saying podium. I'm
Fine,
saying
fine. I'll
podium.
let you say
Yuki
podium.
Tsunoda
I'll let you say
podium this
podium.
year.
But no, it was a stellar drive from him. I mean, even people saying the safety car put him ahead, and even without the safety car, he still was the fastest man on track,
Oh
and
yeah, I mean,
it was one
right
on
place,
his
right
own
time as
merit.
well.
It was a mixture of both, but it was one on his own merit as well, mainly.
Yeah, oh
Um,
definitely.
yeah,
I mean, as I said, he gapped Verstappen.
yeah,
That's something that not many people can say.
yeah.
It was, I mean, it was a team decision to obviously keep him out. They obviously thought there's potential for a safety car here. People are fighting, whatever, whatever, whatever. And it did. I mean, that's not his fault. I mean, he was just fortuitous. the way it went, and congrats to him.
Yeah,
Entire
huge congrats.
race week was brilliant from Lando.
And I hope to see many more, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got a bright career in front of him. He's only what 23,
Or something like that. Yeah,
24.
yeah, he's quite young. He's quite young.
So I mean if he's racing till Lewis's age, Fernando's age, he's got a fair few
Oh,
wins in him.
he's got a few generations left in him.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, that sort of comes to the close of our points, right? So
yeah,
we'll go over the standings as it is, right?
yeah,
I mean, the only difference is Lando Norris overtakes Sainz. He's actually tied, but because he has
yeah. I
a
guess.
better podium ratio, because he's been second,
Yeah,
whereas Sainz has just been third, he's ahead of him. And I think
yeah.
that gap will, Norris will have the edge over him. The
Oh yeah, of
constructors,
course.
that's the main thing, right?
Yes.
Now, it looked like McLaren were going to be in a bit of a no man's land for third.
Yep.
Now, do you personally think they will be able to catch and fight Ferrari? No,
No,
no, no.
no. I'm gonna say it. These upgrades that are supposedly coming at Imola are brilliant,
Yeah.
according to Fred Vasseur. If they live up to their hype, don't get me wrong, McLaren can develop to their heart's content, but I
Mhm.
realistically think that these upgrades, if they're what they're saying they're gonna be, I reckon Ferrari will be challenging Red Bull.
Yeah. Do you want to hear my outrageous prediction?
Go on, let's hear
So
it.
you said Yuki podium, correct?
I
Well,
did
I
indeed.
think Racing Bulls will overtake Aston Martin.
Okay, I think Yuki's more likely to get win the world championship than
Hear me
that
out.
one,
Hear me
mate.
out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay, let's
Hear
hear
me
it.
out. They are 23 points behind.
Yep.
Aston only scored 2 points,
Uh-huh.
whereas Racing Bulls scored 12.
Indeed.
They have proven that sure it might not be often, but Racing Bulls have two drivers, two capable drivers. Aston have one.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to name names. Uh,
Yeah.
um. So I think on paper Racing Bulls have the edge.
Okay, I can kind of see where you're coming from, but I
Yeah.
just yeah, it's not. I don't think that's gonna happen. I
No.
think that is quite a
Believe.
ballsy statement,
Believe.
but
Believe.
I think to be fair though, if that did happen,
Mm,
it might open Lawrence Stroll's eyes, saying, "Oh, my son's shitted driving. Let's kick him off the team."
exactly.
And on that day, the world will rejoice.
It will. It will. It will be sort of like a Star Wars defeating the Empire kind of deal. It'll be like
Yes,
a
yes, it
universal
will be.
rejoice, right? But no, Red Bull's still leading the championship and actually still scoring the most amount of points over the entire weekend.
Yep.
Is in the 40s, something like that. They're at 239, whereas Ferrari are their closest competitors with 187.
Yep.
I don't think that the gap's going to close, to be honest.
No, I don't think
Checo's
so.
able to, be around the Ferraris. Max is be able to head ahead of the Ferraris, and that's all that he needs to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing the job.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong, it's not where he should be, but
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing the bare minimum not to get fired from Red Bull, isn't he?
I suppose.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Now, our next circuit is not this week, but the week after, as at the time we're
Before,
actually.
sorry, but before we do that,
Oh,
can I just ask one question?
go for it.
Sorry,
Oh, fine, taking over.
I'm I'm
See, taking over.
I'm
My
gonna
day.
ask one question.
Oh, great.
So we now have three American races on the calendar,
Don't.
and it
Oh,
seems to be the
you
only
know my opinion.
one. Yeah, yeah, okay. This isn't about the three tracks,
Oh, isn't it?
but
Okay.
excluding Monaco,
Yeah.
this is the only. Sorry, America is the only country where we have celebrities in the paddock and voicing their opinion. What is your opinion on
I
the
hate.
celebrities that
I
the
am.
teams bring along?
I am. I am. I am. Well, no, right. They're all right if they like the sport, and you can tell they like the sport, right?
Yes,
I don't mind them, but then there's people that are there to promote their own career.
of course.
Comes to mind, I can't even remember his name, but he was a dickhead to Martin Brundle. And I think also they fully outed him as well and said he left halfway through the race. I can't remember who it was. He was a
Yeah.
musician of some kind. But
But yeah, they are just there
no,
because I have the money and I want to spend it on something.
it,
One thing I did hear was Taylor Swift was reportedly there, and I would have loved to have seen
Also,
Martin Brundle
yeah.
interview Taylor Swift. He would have been cracking so many jokes, and everybody would have been dying laughing, but she would
I
have just been there going, "What
I'd
the fuck
argue
is
that
this?"
wasn't the biggest name there.
Go on then. Oh, of course,
Donald
of
Trump.
course,
Donald Trump.
yes, and of course, the only team that could really rep him was McLaren, and they did. I'm so happy with that. The orange man
Yeah.
being repped by the papaya
Yeah.
orange
Yeah.
team.
But no, I think
Jokes.
some people like Gordon Ramsay, right? He's shown interest in the sport. He's
Oh
taken his
yeah,
daughters. He's shown the sport. Jeremy Clarkson, don't need to say anymore, just the name. Uh, you know, and these celebrities actually bring something to the sport, show interest in it,
yeah,
whereas others just see the sort of publicity side and what it can bring them.
yeah.
Um,
Of course.
and it obviously is more of it in. I usually don't watch the grid walk for the American tracks because they usually are just all the celebrities not really showing much of an interest or saying, they either support Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, right? I
Yeah,
don't hear
yeah. There's
anything else.
no. To be fair, there are some celebrities that now do have stakes in F1 teams, but I think that is
Yes.
only just to big up their own brand. It's something
Yeah.
they can whack on a CV, for example. Ah, I own Alpine. I own a section of blah 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 blah
Well,
blah
I'm not
blah.
sure you want to own Alpine, but sure, we'll
Yeah, it's not the best team, but oh well.
no, but no, we will move to Imola now, which is in a
Yes.
few weeks. Uh, Firstly, track wise, you a fan? Not much. Is there?
It's
What's?
it's historic track. I mean, I
Yes.
really like the history that goes with it. I mean, saddening that it is. I mean, it's where Senna died all those years ago, but it is a. I like the track, but I reckon the track is stuck in 1997 or whenever it got released. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, whenever we put it off the calendar.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I'd rate it like a 6 out of 10 for tracks.
You know what? I agree, but it's there for me. It is there.
Yeah.
Um, and since it's just there, do we think, predictions wise,
Uh,
any?
Verstappen, Perez, Piastri.
Okay. I like the Piastri Strout. I really do.
I
Um,
reckon it's got his name
you
written
know
all
what?
over it.
I'm wearing the McLaren. Norris,
Oh, going
Verstappen,
for a
Piastri.
whoa. So we've gone from not having a Norris win for 6 years. How many years on the grid? And you're gonna say a back-to-back win. You've heard it here first.
We're going
I
with that.
mean,
Yeah, and Piastri third. Now, because well, see, my team's sort of usually on the podium. Where do you think your team's going to be? How
oh God.
truthfully,
Truthfully, seventh and ninth.
I'm not going to ask you which driver's which. I'll leave. Let you keep that a secret. Probably Hamilton ninth. Let's be honest.
I will leave. I'll leave. I got places to be.
If you want to leave, I mean, we're done. You can leave if you want.
Nah.
But no, that's our prediction. Yeah, it will be a good race, and thankfully it starts
Oh
the
yeah.
European section of our calendar. So we don't have to watch it at ridiculous times anymore.
No, it'd be nice.
But no, I think that's all, unless there is anything.
I
you want to
agree.
the only thing is, bingo cards, we will be putting that on a pause whilst Beth is away, so you can imagine as soon as she's back, our bingo cards will be gone from empty to full, probably. I have a few I need to tick off, but as I said, we'll put it on pause. Anyway, thank you everyone so much for watching this episode of the podcast. Make sure you watch all the others if there's any specific races you want our opinion on or anything like that. Also go watch our Miami GP video that we have just released. That was a good one. I enjoyed that one. I enjoyed that one for me.
It was a good one to edit, yeah.
I'm more than happy to do them again. I nearly died because that was my first ever 50% race ever.
Yes.
But no, thank you everyone, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye.